What is up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We, of course, are The Alternates. I am your host, Brian Cullen, and with me, as always, in the studio,
We're back
for the first time in a long time, is the MVP of Somber League,
Yeah.
Clayton Stevens.
Hello, everybody.
You like that?
Yeah, I do like it because the Summer League is not good basketball. it just gets worse and worse as the days goes on. It's a tough watch right now.
All right. Well, the Somber League MVP is with us today. Thank you for being here. So I'm actually so happy to see you. It's been a long time since we've done this in person.
Oh, fantastic. I'm very excited.
I had to relearn how to turn cameras on and everything this morning. So
Now, you're better than me at it. So
getting in the swing. Low bar. That's how you get through life. Set a low bar and you'll be good. We got a great show lined up today. Before we jump in, I want to take a quick second, ask you all to subscribe to the show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Go ahead and like the video. Drop us a comment, rating and review. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. That's very important. It really does help us out. And most importantly, share the show, post it on your social media page, text it to friends, do all of that because it helps us find people just like you, and it helps people just like you find us so that we can continue to build this awesome little community that we have of ours. If you want to get a hold of us, you can email the show, thealternatehoop@gmail.com. Feel free to send in all your questions and comments, any suggestions, anything you want us to do better. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I live my life off of criticism.
I like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's the Somber League.
It's the Summer League.
And go ahead and follow us on TikTok at The Alternates NBA. Clayton, how are you?
I'm well. Yesterday I got my first little taste of the NBA. I last minute got an invitation to go down to our local arena here, the Crypto.com arena.
Okay.
And hear the great Jerry West speak. He does a little check-in with Clipper fans and stuff like that before the season every year. He's been doing it. Always a pleasure to hear the great Jerry speak. Just the kindest, most introspective man that you'll ever come across.
Yeah.
I love, you ask him the simplest question and he just gets emotional right away. The man's on the edge of tears, telling you about his really inspiring life story, all that great stuff. So always great to be around Jerry. While he's still around, the logo, it's good to see him out there doing stuff and being himself, man. The guy cannot help but be himself. He's talking about, the team has 8 analytics guys. I don't believe in it, but whatever. He can't help but be himself. And I love him for it. So it was good to see, like I said, the logo. Yeah. One of the greatest ever. The legend. Great to see him. Got me pumped up for the season. Got me pumped up to talk to you today. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing well. I was not there for that. I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but one of my favorite things about Jerry West, because as you know, and probably most people that watch the show know, I am credentialed through the Clippers and I cover their home games and go to the games and sit in press row and all of that stuff. And so part of that is pre-game, there's like a buffet dinner thing in the media room. And that's where, everybody besides basically the players go eat dinner and like head coaches and stuff. But Jerry West is always in there and, kind of start every game in there, go back during halftime to like refill my coffee or tea or whatever. And at the end, maybe work in there real quick, type up some notes, that kind of thing. Every single game at halftime, Jerry West goes into the media room and there's a soft serve ice cream machine there and he makes himself an ice cream. Every halftime.
It's incredible. I love that so much. The guy came from a town of 300 people, played for the Lakers for a dozen years. Yeah. One of the most unlikely stories ever. Now at the age of, I think he's 84 years old, still grabs himself an ice cream.
Pound ice cream every game.
Enjoys some hoops and tells the analytics people to F off. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that too. I love it. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah.
We're getting back to a little bit of a structure here for this episode. Things have happened and things are going to happen. And we're going to talk about it here. So let's get into headliners.
Let's do it.
So, Summer League is happening. There's the gathering of all the team execs and all of that in Las Vegas. And part of that summit of billionaires in Vegas is the Board of Governors meeting. They had their annual meeting in Vegas. The Board of Governors, for those who don't know, it's a very cute name that the owners have given themselves.
Yes.
So the owners the Board of Governors makes me laugh. I just imagine them like around a huge table and like top hats and monocles and yes, like it's
well, it's governor, so we get to vote for them, right? Like put them in or out. No. They just own these teams,
and as they walk in,
no democracy.
They just walk in and go, governor, governor. So they had their meeting, and when they do this, they will vote on certain things, maybe a rule change or how they want to approach certain topics. So let's go through some of these that happened.
Okay.
The governor, no, not the governor, sorry, the commissioner, Adam Silver, had a press conference after the meeting and kind of shared what was discussed and what happened here. So one of the big hot topic buttons, one of the big hot button issues, is that what it's called? Is that what I'm reaching for here?
Yeah, it's a spicy button.
Spicy button. The spicy buttons is take fouls. It's been a big thing for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
People hate it. Fans hate it. You know, a lot of the TNT game play-by-play guys hate it. And so the Board of Governors had a discussion about it and voted on a stricter rule change around take fouls. In case you don't know, a take foul is when a player is on a fast break and a player from the opposing team commits an intentional foul to stop the fast break.
Right.
Big issue. People hate it. So they have voted to make a stronger penalty for it. So the penalty now on take fouls is the team in possession of the ball when the take foul is committed will get one free throw. They're treating it very much like a technical foul here because anybody on the court can shoot the free throw. It doesn't have to be the player that was fouled.
Got it. Okay.
So if player X is on a fast break, is fouled in a take foul, but player B is a better shooter, player B can go shoot that free throw. And then they get the ball out of bounds and they retain possession.
Okay, and is it has to be a player, I'm assuming, who's on the court
at the time of the play. Yeah,
Got it.
You can't pull a guy off the bench and have him.
Yep.
Although I would love that idea. Like if it was kind of like football, like with the kickers. In football, you just have a
guy
designated
whose
shooter.
Only job is to go out there and shoot technical free throws. That would be awesome.
I love that. Let's expand the teams.
Yeah, I actually really like that. We just came up with a great idea.
Yeah.
Governors.
Yeah, well, next trip to the altar, I think I know what I'm asking for. So they've already implemented this new rule during the Summer League games that are happening right now in Las Vegas. And according to the data and analytics from the league, they've already seen an impressive drop-off of the amount of take fouls being committed. So this new shot plus possession seems to be deterring players from this.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out in the regular season. There are a couple stipulations to the rule.
Okay.
First one is if this foul is committed while a player is in the shooting motion, it's treated like a shooting foul.
Right.
They go to the free throw, they take their shots, whatever. It does not apply, this new rule does not apply during the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter and the final 2 minutes of overtime.
Okay.
They didn't want to take away a strategic play in terms of a team at the end of a game trying to complete a comeback, being able to stop the clock, being able to maybe stop a three from happening, that kind of thing. So they still wanted it to be a tool in competition. They just don't want to see it through an entire game being used as an excuse for teams that can't play transition defense. So it's the only time it does not apply. What's your feeling on this? How do you feel about it?
I like it. I was not much a fan of what we call the take foul.
Yeah.
It takes away one of the most exciting things in basketball, which is transition.
Yeah.
This has been going on in Europe for quite a while. This exact rule, basically. So it's not totally foreign. And actually, they were doing it in international competition as well. Okay. When Team USA goes out and play
FIBA.
Stuff exactly. So all that stuff. So it's not totally new to basketball. And I think it will make the game better. It is certainly going to be a good thing for the pace of play.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nice strategic. There will be strategy regarding this that we can't even see right now until it's implemented completely. I think it will maybe have coaches taking more timeouts at certain times, stuff like that, because you can't get that rest in there in between. So I'm for it. It doesn't, I wasn't like rallying against it by any means necessarily, but I think it's good for the league. And I would actually like to see some of the other European rules put in, the ball on the hoop.
Being able to grab the ball off the rim.
I would love to see that implemented in the NBA because, again, it adds another exciting play to the game. So anything where you're adding excitement to the game and increasing the pace of play, I think is a good thing.
Yeah. Sounds like you should just watch European basketball.
Well, 12 hours ahead, unfortunately. Not the easiest.
Time to commit,
but...
dude. It's time to commit. Yeah, I'm pretty indifferent on it, honestly. I didn't hate it. I'm one of the rare people that didn't hate the James Harden, manipulating the rules to get to the free throw line.
I hated that.
The rules are set, and this guy figured out how to play it, work around it. It's the most alt thing ever. This guy, he's finding catch-22s everywhere. So it's just players and teams are going to find ways to work around the rules. My biggest concern is that this might lead to, some flopping in terms of trying to make it look like a real defensive play was a take foul, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Actually, I'm glad you bring that up. I have one slight concern, which is that maybe guys will, in desperation of not getting that call, jump at the ball, maybe have a dangerous play on the ball because, guys do this out of laziness. Yeah. Right. And if someone is trying to do that same lazy approach and just reach for the ball and maybe trip a guy, have some sort of, that will likely happen. And likely we are going to have very early in the season controversy surrounding this with the referees, was it a take foul? Was it not a take foul? Was he really reaching for the ball? Was he not really reaching for the ball? Yeah. Scott Foster can't wait to get out there.
The king.
He can't wait to get out there and call some of these.
He's at home practicing right now. I love it. Okay. All right. The next thing that they talked about here, the play-in tournament, which was introduced in the bubble in 2020, on a trial basis. They extended the trial period to this last season where they did it for the second time. The Board of Governors voted and approved to make it permanent. So the play-in tournament is going nowhere. It is here to stay. It is now part of the season. Yep. It's official. Yeah. I don't hate the play-in tournament necessarily. I've got really no problem with it, in terms of what it is. I can appreciate it. I just would like to see kind of the original play-in tournament from 2020 where there were kind of some trigger rules that happened if there's a big enough gap between one of the teams outside of the top 8, if they were X games behind, you don't get into the play-in tournament. I like that concept a little more because then you can kind of say, oh well, it's actually a little more competitive than you originally thought for a single elimination game. So but all in all, no problem with it. I would just like to see the rules kind of worked a little bit differently because I don't think teams that are 8 games behind should be getting into a play-in tournament, personally.
I think that's fair. I don't disagree with you on that. I like the play-in tournament. I think it adds some excitement, and I actually think long-term for the league, this is going to be a good thing because implementing this is the start of implementing single elimination tournaments, things like that. Adam Silver, we know, is a big fan of, again, European soccer. Which has plenty of midseason tournaments. Yeah. And a lot of those tournaments are interleague. So they will invite teams from other leagues, other countries, things like that. Then they have a big tournament to decide a winner of that. And that actually makes those tournaments matter, right? Because, you have your Premier League championship, but then you play Barcelona, stuff like that, right? So I would like to see the NBA move in that direction. I think a midseason tournament is coming. People aren't going to like it at first, but in the long term, maybe teams from Australia, teams from Europe, maybe the G League Ignite, teams from Mexico, stuff like that will be invited to these tournaments. We'll get to see international players. Maybe we'll get to see someone like, next year's possible top pick, Victor Wembanyama. We could have seen him play against NBA competition a year early. That would be really exciting. So I think this is just the beginning of adding tournaments, getting people used to the idea of these single elimination tournaments, and eventually implementing more international competition. I think it will be really good for the game in the long term. It's just going to be a growing thing. The rules will change. Things like that will happen over time. It's going to be a slow process. I think it's good for the league.
Okay, yeah. We'll definitely debate in-season tournament at some point because I've got some pretty strong opinions on it.
Fair enough.
But play-in is here. All right. Last couple things here. The Players Association and the Board of Governors came to an agreement where the surviving members of the ABA, it's approximately 115 players. The ABA was the competing league in the early days of the NBA. A merger was formed. A lot of the star talent from the ABA joined the NBA, but there were players that didn't. And there were a lot of players that didn't qualify for the NBA's pension plan, which, I think some people might not even know that players, when they retire, they receive a pension from the NBA. They've approved basically a pension plan for the former ABA players that are still alive and still with us. So the way it works is if you played in the ABA for at least 3 seasons before it dissolved, and you did not qualify originally for the NBA pension plan, you will now receive $3,828 per season played annually. So that's a little confusing.
Yeah, break that down.
So what that means is, let's say I played in the ABA for 10 years. I don't think there's anybody alive right now that didn't qualify for the NBA pension that played for 10 seasons in the ABA.
Yeah, I think they were around for 9, but let's say 10.
For simple sake, I played 10 seasons in the ABA. I will now receive $38,280 every year.
Okay.
So it's every single season played, you receive that $3,828 every single year.
Right.
I think this is awesome. I would have liked to have seen it go just another step further, but I'm happy that even this was put in place. This is long overdue. I would have liked to seen some kind of restitution, like some kind of back pay for that, something for the families of the players that are no longer alive, whether it be through some kind of like restitution payment or, some kind of insurance or something like that. But I think that this is a great thing. It's a no-brainer. I think it was. I think it's really cool that they're doing this and at least taking care of the players that are still around.
Yeah, not much to add there. I'm totally with you. This is a no-brainer. Like you sort of briefly mentioned there, a lot of the star talent that came to the NBA in the 70s. The ABA was absorbed in the NBA, I believe, in 1975. And we're talking about guys like Dr. J, huge high-end talent that really grew the league exponentially, came from the ABA. And of course, it's not just the star players that matter. It's all the guys in between who, helped those guys get to that point too, right?
Yeah.
Played roles. So they deserve a lot of credit and, of course, deserve some financial compensation. I would, of course, like to see it be more. The NBA made, I think, about $10 billion this year. They could certainly afford it. I do think these families of these players, specifically these 115 players, will be absorbed into the NBA's insurance program and all that stuff. So their families will get insurance when they pass, because a lot of these guys obviously are elderly at this point, and this money won't last long for them. Yeah. But hopefully their families can get in on this stuff, and we can at least help them with that. Yeah. Should be more, but a good, obvious first step.
Absolutely. All right, rounding out the end here of, we're obviously not going through everything that was discussed in the Board of Governors meeting, but these are just the big ones. Yeah. This is a topic that's been coming up a lot lately. It obviously came back to the surface this year with Durant now asking out for a trade out of Brooklyn. And it was the topic of players asking for trades while under contract with years on their contract. So Kevin Durant's trade request is pretty unprecedented considering that there's 4 years on his contract. But we've seen in recent years other players like Anthony Davis, while having a year or two or a couple years left on their contract, asking to be traded. And so that came up. Nothing was done about it, which makes me happy because, there's a lot of like the player empowerment era has gone too far and all this, blah, blah, blah. But in my mind, if the tables are flipped, nobody bats an eye, right? Like we saw the Clippers sign Blake Griffin to a 5-year max contract and trade him that season to Detroit. Like the teams can do this at any time, no questions asked. Yep. And the second a player tries to, take some kind of hold of their destiny. And it's not even guaranteed. It's called a trade request. The team still has the power in that transaction to choose whether or not to trade you and where you go. And so I got no problem. Look, I don't love it when it happens all the time. You know, there are instances where I would like to see a player, you know, stick with the team and try to get it done. But like,
Sure,
there's no loyalty here. Like, and if the owners and front offices have this power, then I have no problem with the players having even just the power to ask to go to somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that's the important point. I don't have much to add to that. This is the tiniest little leverage point that the players have, right? Because like you said, a team can trade a player wherever they want, no questions asked, doesn't matter. The players, they don't get any say in it. For instance, let's say Kevin Durant decides he doesn't want to play for the Brooklyn Nets anymore. He can't just not show up.
Yeah.
They can sue him. They can not pay him, things like that. But if they trade him to, say, New Orleans, someplace that he doesn't want to go, he can't really do anything about it. So he's just trying to use what little leverage he has to get where he wants to go. To me, it's really not that big a deal. And, you know, teams leak out this stuff constantly. They try and make it seem like, oh, this is just sourced reporters coming. Where do you think they get this information? It comes direct.
Who are their sources?
Yeah, who are their sources? It's from the teams. They put this stuff out. The players have wisened up to the fact that in this era, in this age, we have social media, the media itself, all that stuff. So this is just a way for them to apply a little bit of pressure. They're well within their right to do it. I don't give a shit where they do it. I don't give a shit where the teams trade the players. It's all a game, like you said. There's no loyalty in this. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, and I'm always going to side in favor of the labor. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
The players are the labor. You know, it might not be the same as someone, you know, working in a market somewhere because the amount of money that they're making, but they are still the labor. And sports have historically been at the forefront of labor movements and rights for workers. And so I am anything that gives them more power, I am all for.
Exactly. They're 50-50 partners monetarily.
51-49, but yeah.
Right. But, you know, essentially 50-50 partners in this thing, but they are not 50-50 partners in who controls who and who has more power to do stuff. The teams have much more power still. It's not even close.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want, essentially. They can tell a player not to show up.
Yeah.
If they feel like it. But a player can't say, I don't want to show up if I don't feel like it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Plenty of reasons why players should do whatever they can to get what they can.
Totally agree. One thing that was brought up in the Board of Governors meeting, I don't really have a big take on this or anything. I actually found it kind of silly when I read about it. But obviously, Brittany Griner, star from the WNBA, is still detained in Russia. It's been months now.
Yes.
And, you know, in Adam Silver's press conference, he said, you know, we discussed it and we decided that we fully trust the Biden administration and our government to handle the negotiations in this situation, which made me laugh because I was like, was there ever an option that the NBA was going to be the ones negotiating with the Russian government? Like, what are we fucking talking about here? Like, instead of saying we trust them to do it, push them harder. You have the connections to the people that are in these negotiations. Like, you are that high up. Your business is that big. You can play. Obviously, you're not going to be on the phone making these calls, but you need to put more pressure on the elected officials that are handling this situation. But to come out and say, we decided that they're best served to handle this, just kind of made me laugh. I was like, that's such a non-statement.
Oh, it's complete non-statement. It's total bullshit. And not only do they not want to get involved in this because, you know, oh, it's so complicated, blah, blah, blah. No. It goes a lot deeper than that. Every owner in this league essentially is tied in some way to Russian oligarchs, to oil money, to all kinds of things over there. Not only the owners, the Board of Governors, as they call themselves, the NBA itself is tied to many Russian oligarchs, tied to a lot of nasty stuff going on over there. They want no part of talking about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
This is a strictly business comment. This has nothing to do with Brittany Griner, nothing to do with what's right and what's wrong. This is business for these guys, and they're guys. This is a bunch of
they're oligarchs. These are all billionaires we're talking about. Like
these are American oligarchs
when you're talking
who are
about
in business with
billionaires
Russian
in
oligarchs.
Russia, it's oligarchs. And then here it's like, oh, they're just rich businessmen. No, these guys are fucking oligarchs as well.
That's right. Exactly. And they're in business with them. The NBA's in business with them. They want no part of this. So this is not some, oh, we're just, morally obligated to let the government do it. No. They don't want to apply that pressure. They want no part of this shit. So they're cowards. It is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. All right, last quick hitters here and headliners before we get out. Harden, since the last time we recorded, has since opting out of his last year of his contract. It's not official yet, but it's been reported that he is signing a 2-year, $64 million deal, player option for the second year. This basically equates to him taking a $15 million pay cut compared to what he would have been making had he opted into that last year. Doing that allowed the Sixers to sign PJ Tucker, to bring in Daniel House. Because if he had not done this, they would have had to make trades in order to clear up the space, cap space to do that. Is this something the NBA should investigate? Does this seem like, bordering on tampering here?
Should or will? Because that's the real question here.
Yeah.
Should they? I don't really care because they won't.
Yeah.
Because none of these teams want to be investigated for the same shit.
Totally.
The Brooklyn Nets specifically want no part of an investigation with all this stuff. No, I mean, look. If we're talking about a 25-year-old, I would be pretty concerned about this. I would feel like, wait a second, I think maybe people are being taken advantage of here. But we're talking about James Harden. The guy's made over $200 million in just playing basketball, let alone a couple $100 million in endorsements and all that stuff. The guy's well within his right to take a small pay cut to make his team better. And he's bringing back guys that he knows. He's with a GM that he knows. It makes a lot of sense, I think, for all parties involved here. And I think a lot of teams would like their star players to do stuff like this. So if anything, I think probably all these governors should be thanking James Harden here for maybe setting a precedent moving forward for other players to take a cut like this. And we'll see at the end, like, is James going to get, some big max extension after this year? It's a 1-1. It's no big deal. It's a small pay cut for someone who's plenty rich. No big deal.
Yeah, I'm with you. Everybody tampers. Whatever. It doesn't really bother me all that much. Last thing here before we get out of headliners. Donovan Mitchell is making headlines here. So when the Utah Jazz traded Rudy Gobert to Minnesota, they said, don't bother calling us for Donovan Mitchell. We're building around him. That's what that's what these moves we're doing, is we're moving forward with him as our guy. And it is now being reported that they are picking up the phone on calls on Donovan Mitchell. They are very open to trading him. And when I heard this, there was a brief second where I was like, kind of surprised. I had that like, oh, wow, I guess they're, and then I thought about it and I was like, okay, they got a haul of picks for Rudy Gobert. They traded Royce O'Neal for a first round pick. This is so obvious that they were just clearly headstrong moving towards a full rebuild and wanting to blow this entire thing up. And so the only thing that's really come out of it right now, we don't know where he's going or what the package is going to be, but it is reported that the New York Knicks are the team that they are most engaged in negotiations with now for Donovan Mitchell, which is like the most New York Knicks thing ever. Of course, they're going to go for Donovan Mitchell. But do you have any thoughts about this, or were you surprised at all? Where are you at with this whole thing?
Surprised? No. I think before the summer even started, we knew Quinn Snyder was moving on out of his quote unquote own volition, which I think is code for we told him that we're blowing this shit up, and he said no, thank you. We know he took a big pay cut as well to get away from that situation. So this doesn't surprise me at all. Donovan Mitchell's a really good player. I think he's become underrated a little bit. He's really good. Is he a piece that you build a championship team around just him? Probably not, at his size and his skill set. Yeah. Probably not the guy you want to build your entire championship team around. So I'm not surprised at all. He's got a lot of years left on his deal. He should bring really good value back to Utah in this situation. Am I surprised that the Knicks are getting involved? No, because they're the Knicks. And as well, of course, we know even before all this stuff, it was always rumored that Donovan Mitchell had his eyes on New York City, not just for his connection to the city, but CAA and all that stuff. So
tampering.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of tampering. So yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all. Do I like the idea of a Brunson and Mitchell backcourt? No, I don't.
Yeah, that could be a nightmare defensively.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
A nightmare in a bad way.
Yeah.
Not a nightmare for other teams.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. You're right. No, but he's a box office draw. Yeah. He's a marketable star. By all means, a good guy and the kind of guy that you would want from a star position. Marketably, he has all that stuff. Yeah. So it makes sense from that perspective.
Totally. Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that, see where that movement goes, and see where he eventually lands, because it's feeling like he is not going to be in a Jazz jersey to start the season.
Very likely not.
And that opens up more questions. Curious to see what they do with the guys that they got back in the Gobert trade, and a lot of movement around Utah. So very interesting. All right. We're going to play a game now. We're bringing back an oldie, and we're going to play Start Today. What? Start today in the offseason? Nobody's playing. How can you crown a champion? How do you even have standings? Let me answer that question. Good question there, Clayton. We base this off of the current Vegas odds for the teams to win next year's championship.
That's right.
We took the eight teams with the 8 teams with the best odds in each conference and placed them in seeding based on who has the best odds to win a championship here. And we're gonna go through and we're gonna rapid fire this, since there's obviously not any play since the last season to base a lot of this off of. But it's interesting because there are some players that technically are not active today.
Yep, been some movement.
And
so
there's
a little projection.
Some new faces. So this should be fun. I'm gonna take the West. That leaves you with the East.
Okay.
We're gonna start in the East.
Let's do it.
As we do every time. Those are the early tips. So in the first round here, our 1-8 matchup is the Boston Celtics versus the Atlanta Hawks. Both teams made some moves, made some changes so far this offseason. Who do you got?
I would love to say the Hawks, but I got to see it first. I'm not ready to say that they're moving forward yet, but very interesting team. I'm going to pick the Boston Celtics here, though.
Yeah, they only got better. I agree with that. All right, we got 2-7. It is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Chicago Bulls, the Amtrak series.
Yeah, so start today.
Yep.
Chris Middleton isn't playing. We
just
know
had wrist surgery.
He just had wrist surgery. He's going to be out for a little bit. But the Bulls didn't do anything that moved the needle for me. Of course, I think we could fairly assume that Caruso and Lonzo will be playing. It will be a better series than it would have been before. But I got to go with the Milwaukee Bucks. They brought back the band.
Yeah.
They just look like a juggernaut again.
Okay, all right. You got Connaughton on that big contract now, playing for the money.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. 3-6. We've got the Miami Heat and the Toronto Raptors.
I may surprise some people with this one. I'm going with the Toronto Raptors.
Wow.
Here.
Okay. We're doing rapid fire. You got to explain this one to me.
I like what the Raptors have done so far, re-signing Thad Young, bringing Otto Porter in.
Yeah.
I like the development of Scotty Barnes. I think that they really found some stuff at the end of last season. Loved the way they played. I just was so unimpressed by the Heat, and essentially they're running it back. Giving Oladipo a bigger deal. I just don't. I'm not convinced by this Heat team, and I think the Raptors, with their ability to switch and just the crazy lineups that they have out there, I just think that they're going to be a better team. I expect them to be one of the top 4 seeds in the East. That's one of my hot takes this year. I think the Raptors are going to win a ton of games this year.
And they're going to take it to Kyle Lowry, huh?
I think so.
All right. Interesting. And then the final one here in the first round, we've got the 4-5 matchup. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets. Oh, I love this.
Classic.
I love it. Yes.
I'm really high on what the Sixers have done this offseason. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers to win here. Obviously, this is the Nets with KD and Kyrie and all that stuff, but they haven't really done much with that. I don't like what the Nets have done this offseason. I love what the Sixers have done. On the last episode, we talked about free agency stuff that we liked. I didn't even mention D'Anthony Melton, who I think is a really, really good player. I just love everything the Sixers have done. I think from a playoff perspective, they're going to be much better. I'm pretty easily choosing the Sixers here because it's easy to bet against the Nets, I think.
Yeah, interesting. Even with playoff Harden. All right, so let's go out west. And let's see what we got in the first round of the West here.
All right, in the West here, we got the defending champion Golden State Warriors versus the upstart New Orleans Pelicans led by Jose Alvarado.
I honestly want to pick the Pelicans here.
Yeah.
Zion is back, all of that. I just don't think that they're ready yet to overtake Steph Curry and the Warriors. So easy pick for me, Warriors.
Yeah, we got to see it with them, right?
Yeah.
We got to see Zion back. Okay, and then we'll move to the 2-7 here. The Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, the Suns, one of the rumored teams for Kevin Durant, so a lot could change here. But again, this is start today. DeAndre Ayton's still on the team.
Yeah. You know, the Mavericks handled it in this last postseason. I don't think they've gotten better. They lost Jalen Brunson, who was huge for them in their playoff run. I don't think Spencer Dinwiddie is replacing him in production.
Yeah.
Christian Wood, we'll see. Yeah. You know, they got JaVale, who I think is a good backup. But yeah, it's the Suns. Right now, that team is just so much better.
I agree with you. Okay, and then we move to the 3-6, the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Fun first-round matchup here.
Fun first-round matchup. This one is tough. Kawhi, though cleared for full contact 5-on-5 practice, is not technically active to play yet. So they are without him. Could be very tough, but they lost Melton. They lost Slow-Mo.
Yes.
Kyle Anderson.
Yep. Replacing them with rookies, essentially going more towards
I'm picking the
younger...
Clippers. I'm picking the Clippers here. They're a deeper team. You know, a little more Norm Powell. Possibly John Wall is a needle mover. I'm going with the Clippers here in the first round.
I like it. I think that's fair. And then... Ooh, this is blockbuster matchup here. The Denver Nuggets versus the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers in 4, Nuggets in 5. I get that the Nuggets have worse odds because, you know, they don't have Jamal Murray back technically yet.
Yeah, start today. I think we can say Jamal Murray is not yet in this.
I still think it's a little offensive that they're so low, considering that they'll be fully healthy to start the season, and this team terrifies me. The Lakers, look, they've made moves this offseason, but I still think the biggest glaring issue with this Lakers roster is spacing, and they have done nothing to address the spacing on this team.
Right.
In fact, they lost Malik Monk, who was one of their best spacers.
Right.
So I'm taking the Nuggets. I just think that even without Jamal Murray, the spacing is such an issue for me in LA. I got the Nuggets winning this series.
And how about this? Which team has the best player on the court?
I think I've got to say it's the Nuggets with Jokic.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear if you thought the same thing.
And that's tough to say because LeBron is so fucking good, but
Anthony Davis is so good, obviously. But yeah, no, I'm with you. Jokic is one of the 3 best players in the world, and I don't think I can say that about those 2 guys.
Okay, all right, back to the East. Second round here. Boston Celtics versus the Sixers. Who do you got?
Ooh, look, I love what the Sixers have done, but I got to give credit where credit's due. I'm with you. Boston got better, and again, this is start today. Health's not much of a concern for Malcolm Brogdon. I think we have Malcolm Brogdon in this series. He would make a huge role for them. So yeah, I'm going with the Celtics.
All right.
I think they can win here.
Love it. And then the other matchup here, the Bucks versus the Raptors.
The upstart Raptors, unfortunately, you know, no Chris Middleton is a big deal for the Bucks, but the Raptors, they're not ready yet to move past this point. Yeah. I think this is where it ends here, and ironically, the Bucks stops.
Okay,
so the Bucks move forward.
Let's see who gets to the conference finals in the West.
All right, so we got the Warriors versus the Nuggets.
This is where the Jamal Murray hurts them. Not having them, I've got the Warriors winning this one.
Yeah.
I just think without Jamal Murray's production offensively, they're not going to be able to keep up with the Warriors.
Okay, and then the Suns and Clippers rematch of a couple of years ago.
At full health, easily, it's the Clippers. I don't even have to think about it. I do truly believe that team is better, but start today, no Kawhi.
Yeah.
It gets tough. I think I'm giving the Suns just the slight edge here, but I'm so torn on this, but I think I've got to say Phoenix, everybody is healthy right now on their roster, so I got to give that as the edge for them.
Okay, I think that's fair.
So, who's making it to the finals out of the East? You got the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Middleton. God damn it. Boston.
Yeah, they just got better. It's crazy.
They just got better. They just made it there. I think Tatum and Brown are going to be better off for all of this stuff. Yeah. We always talk about how players can get better, but their first year head coach, he's going to get better. I think he's going to go back to the drawing board and figure out some stuff. So I think that with injuries right now, I would pick Boston. Injuries not aside, if they did have Chris Middleton, I think I would choose the Bucks. I trust them a little more, but that's a huge blow.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Western Conference Finals.
Western Conference Finals, Warriors and Suns.
Yeah, I love it. It's the Chris Paul versus Steph Curry. Those have been heated matchups throughout their careers.
Love it.
I'm giving it to the Warriors. It almost bores me to say this because we now have the exact same finals matchup that we just got past. But right now, I've got to give the edge to Golden State. I mean, those guys are just so good. And yeah, they lost some key players, but I think Dante DiVincenzo is a smart signing.
I love that signing.
And we saw that the Suns are not this unbeatable juggernaut, and so I think that the Warriors just exploit that, and yeah, I've got so our finals now is the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics.
Yeah,
rematch time. Who's winning?
Boston.
Wow.
I don't think the Warriors got better. I don't necessarily think that they got worse, but again, the DiVincenzo thing's a little bit of a question mark.
Definitely.
If he can stay healthy, I think he's a huge upgrade over a guy like Otto Porter.
Yeah.
But he's a question mark. We still have to see him fit. We've seen guys like Kelly Oubre not fit the style exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to play a certain way to play with Steph Curry. So we got to see it.
And we just got a Moses Moody game in the summer league, so
they're going to be relying on those guys. Yeah. So they're going to be asking a lot of younger players, whereas the Celtics, they're a veteran-laden team, brought in more veterans.
Yeah.
I'm going with Boston to win it this year.
Gallo off the bench. I love it. Okay, great. Boston Celtics, off-season champions here.
Yeah.
We'll come back and play this again. I'm not sure exactly when. We'll see when there's some more movement. We'll watch the shifting lines in Vegas.
They'll move.
And come back and visit this. But all right, that was fun. Well, we got one last segment here before we get out of here. It's the return of another game. 3-pack.
Yes.
So I've got a fun little 3-pack here for you. Let me turn my screen so you can't see anything. We are halfway through a season right now, known as the Summer League.
Oh.
And this is a Summer League 3-pack.
Oh, I love it.
So we're halfway through the Las Vegas Summer League. The NBA Summer League is broken up into 3 different cities overall.
Yep.
There's the Salt Lake City Summer League, where 4 teams compete. There's the California Classic, which is it's been held in San Francisco and Sacramento. They've traded off there, which I believe is also 4 teams. And then there's the Las Vegas Summer League, which is the largest of them all. All teams compete there. Every team sends players. And it has really grown in popularity over the last several years. But a lot of people don't know much about its history. So I got 3 facts here. One of them is not true.
Okay.
You got to sniff out the lie. Fact number 1. Despite Las Vegas being the biggest and most popular summer league, the NBA Summer League has actually been around long before the Vegas Summer League. There were a lot of Pro-Am Summer Leagues and stuff like that, but the inaugural season of the NBA Summer League as we know it now, a truly organized professional NBA Summer League, the inaugural season was in 2002, and it was hosted by the Magic in Orlando, and it was closed to the public. It was only televised. No ticket sales.
Okay. Back to the bubble style.
Yeah, truly. And in Orlando, like truly back to the bubble.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Fact number 2, the Las Vegas Summer League, it started in 2004. In 2006, they began naming an MVP for each Summer League season. So they didn't do it the first couple years.
Okay.
In the 14 seasons since they started naming MVPs, 16 MVPs have been named. 16 MVPs in 14 seasons.
Okay.
Fact number 3. The Summer League held no championships until 2013. There was originally no champion. It was just kind of like a, let's see what we got here kind of thing. But then they introduced the competition a little more, started naming a championship team in every season since 2013. And since the introduction of a champion, no team has won more than once. It's been a different team every year since 2013.
Wow.
Which one of these is the lie?
All right, I will say that all these feel pretty true. So you did a really good job here. Let's start with the first one here. The Orlando Summer League in 2002 being closed to the public. I'm going to put that one on hold. Vegas League starting in 2004, and then an MVP beginning in 2016.
2006.
2006. And then 16 MVPs. I'm pretty sure that's true because I know at least one time there were dual MVPs, probably twice, what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Co-MVPs.
Okay.
I know that happened at least once. So I'm going to say that one is true. And I'm also going to say that, again, that first one about the Orlando Summer League being closed to the public and stuff, I'm going to say that one is true. I'm going to say that the lie here is that no team has won more than once. I think someone's won more than once. That just seems wrong to me.
Okay. All right. Fact number 1 is true. You were right about that. Fact number 1 is true. Fact number 2, also true. And interesting, if you think about the numbers that I laid out, it started in 2006, and I said 14 seasons, which would only bring you up to 2020 because there were 2 years that there was no Summer League. 2020, obviously.
Right.
In 2011, the Summer League was canceled due to CBA disagreements.
Lockout, right.
Yeah, and they had not... the seasons before and after played full seasons, but there was some tension in the summertime during some of those negotiations.
Makes sense. Yep.
And so there was no Summer League held there. There were co-MVPs twice.
Yes.
The first time was in, 2012.
Okay.
Damian Lillard, and I'm just going to see if you can guess who the co-MVP was in 2012.
You know what? I just heard this the other day. I think someone said it on Zach Lowe's podcast or something like that. I can't remember who it was. It was...
Josh Selby.
Yes. God, that's insane.
He played 3 seasons in the NBA and was out.
Yeah, he was a lotto pick. I remember him.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy. That's insane.
Can you tell me the last time there were co-MVPs? The second time it happened.
Was it I want to say like Brandon Ingram won MVP. No, Lonzo. I think Lonzo Ball won MVP, and I think he was co-MVP with somebody else. Is that it?
2017, he was the single MVP.
Okay. It was Lonzo though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was last year. Last Summer League, it was Davion Mitchell and Cameron Thomas.
Wow.
Split it and won co-MVPs.
Nice. 2 guys who I think will stick around, actually. I think that one will age well.
Which means that fact number 3 was in fact the lie. The Kings have won twice.
I swear to God, I almost said that the Kings won twice. I swear I almost said that, but didn't throw it out. That's so funny.
They won their second Summer League championship last season. So yeah,
I mean,
they
when
have
you're
won
picking in the
twice.
lottery every year, you got a good chance.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, dude, we brought it back and you nailed it. I feel like I did a pretty good job. You
No,
did
you
a
did.
better
You
job
did,
in
yeah.
sniffing out the lie. That was fun. I'm glad we were able to do that. Thank you all for joining us. That is going to be today's show. We will be back next week with a guest in the house.
That's right.
We have the first guest with both of us here, so that will be fun. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm very excited to have them in here. We appreciate you so much. Clayton, what are we leaving everybody with today?
We're leaving everyone with a banger. The band's called Exit Order. The song is called Seed of Hysteria. It's from the LP of the same name, Seed of Hysteria. It came out in 2017 on Side 2 Records, sort of in the style of like Crash Records kind of thing. I think you'll like it.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, we hope you all appreciate it. Enjoy the song. Remember to be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. We will see you soon.
Thanks.
Let's go.